Hi everyone, Alex Saldana here, and if you've been thinking about putting your house on the market or selling, you really need to listen up because I have the number one weapon at your disposal to get you the most amount for your house in the least amount of time. Now, all we've been hearing lately is the headlines about what's happening in the market. And yeah, the stock market is down 25%, and they just announced they're going to be raising interest rates even more. So we're going to be looking at over 6% interest rates here within the next couple of weeks. So, what does that do to you as a seller? Now, it does decrease the number of buyers. The higher interest rates go, the less amount of buyers can qualify at certain price points. But is that really what's happening deep down in the market? You know, every summer we get twice as much inventory on the market here in Denver, and a lot of people go on vacation, or a lot of buyers experience fatigue in the summer months because they were shopping in the spring, which there's always the least amount of inventory on the market from about January till about the end of the March. And come, May and June, they're just so tired of getting beat up and losing out that they just stop and hit the pause button. And then come the end of August, the beginning of September, things start to normalize a little bit more. So we're still at historic low inventory levels. Yes, interest rates are going up, but we just put a couple of houses on the market during the last couple of weeks. Both of them received multiple offers, and this didn't happen by mistake. It's very planned, it's very thought out, and it doesn't happen how you think. So I want to talk about a couple of charts here that we've built over the years to help express how we go about our pricing strategy with our clients. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the psychology of a buyer and their perceived value. So what we have on this top line is your price, and we've got a stair step down. Then we have this curved line here in red, which is the buyer's perception of value. And what this represents is, say your house should be priced at $500,000, but you want to test the waters and you put it up for $550,000. Well, the buyer's perceived value is down here at $500,000, and if you don't get buyers in the door right away to get you that $550,000, then what you have to do is you have to stair step down in price. So maybe you do a price reduction by $5,000 or $10,000 at first, and then you wait another couple of weeks, and then you do another $5,000 or $10,000, and then another $5,000, and then finally you have to do a massive 5%, 10% price reduction to get to the buyer's perception of value. So your best bet is to start off at the buyer's perception of value, because what can happen is that the market will drive the price up if there's not much on the market. Now here's another way to look at it, another visual, if you will, about how many buyers are going to look at your house depending on how you have it priced. At fair market value, you will see the best balance of activity and price. If you price your home too high, the fewer showings you're going to have, and if you price too low, you'll get an increase in showings, and you may end up receiving more multiple offers trying to outbid each other. So what this shows here is, on the left, the percentage of prospective purchasers who will look at your property. And if you're priced 10% over, you'll typically see about 2%, 5% over, you'll see 30% of the buyers. At fair market value, you'll see about 60% of the buyers. Pricing under by 5%, we'll see 80%, minus 10%, we'll see about 92% of the buyers. Now, this is a strategy that a lot of people attempt by underpricing to try to create these nasty bidding wars to get a lot more. I don't find that that's necessary, because what happens if, we have a market like we do now and all the buyers just disappear one weekend? Now, you can't go up in price. You can always drop it in price. You can't often go up in price. Neither are great strategies. So we like to go right at the best comps, and pricing it there will generally, if there's enough buyers, create a bidding war, therefore upping the price. But let's look at a couple of properties here and what ended up happening. So what we're looking at here is a property we recently put on the market that we did end up getting multiple offers on. And this is the conversations we had before going live on the market. So figuring out the correct price is half science, half BS. we do a lot of flips for our business, and so we tend to look at the science a little bit more, where I know most homeowners kind of have more of a gut feeling about what else is sold in the neighborhood. However, this is how we came to our pricing strategy. So we come in and we draw a map within a proper comp zone. Now, Brighton is a smaller town, but usually you wouldn't cross over a double yellow line or a busy street. But with Brighton, we can kind of fudge with it a little bit. But you start with a tight area and then you expand your search area based on how many comparable sales came up. And what we do is we look for within 20% of square footage. So this is a 1,000 square foot house. So we're looking from 800 to 1,200 square feet that have closed within the last 6 months, single family residence. So what this came up with is we'll look at these closed properties first. Any of these ones with a little C here. And so we can see we had one that closed at 407. These two are the same property. And we can come in and look. Now they listed at 375. They closed at 407. They listed on March 31st. They went under contract a few days later on April 4th. And we can look at it, and besides the color of the house being wrong, the inside is not that fantastic. So my client's house was in nicer condition than this. But they listed it at 375, what they felt was appropriate, and that might have been pushing it a little bit at the time, but we can see what ended up happening there. And then we can look at these other properties. So this one closed at 391. Nice little old Victorian. And it's in decent shape. Not fully renovated recently, but it's in fair shape. Newer appliances, newer cabinets, granite countertops, tile floor, newer carpet, paint. So they did some work to put this on the market. So we looked and we looked over a course of weeks while strategizing what to list at. And at the time, this one on 6th Avenue was on the market at 4.25. And so this house was in a little bit better condition. Brand new floors, paint, fully flipped throughout, brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms. And so our house wasn't in this condition quite. So we went right at the middle ground at $400,000. And when we listed, we had lots of showings real fast. We marketed the heck out of it. My client's home is in good shape. And we ended up receiving multiple offers and going under contract for 4.25, which then leads me to the advantage of pricing it correctly. So we could have tried to push at 4.25, 435, something like that. And what happens if we miss? Then we've got to adjust down and we likely end up selling at 400,000. Or the better reason to price it correctly, or one of the main reasons in my opinion, is that you get an offer in at 400, we listed it at 400,000, you get an offer in at 4.25. Now we can do a counter offer to that buyer to say, great, we'll accept your offer, but if it does not appraise at 425,000, you have to bring the difference to the closing table in cash. Meaning, you want to offer 4.25, you better be willing to pay $25,000 over the appraised value. It did come in at appraised value, so we're fine there. But this is how we go about our pricing structure. And that's the gist of it, folks. Pricing it right out of the gate gives you your best chance to make the most amount of money and to sell it in the quickest time frame. Your first chance is your best chance. So once again, I'm here. If you need anything, shoot me a message, shoot me a text message, send me a DM, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. But I'm here. Let me know if you have any questions. And until then, happy housing.